A book is a medium for recording information in the form of writing or images, typically composed of many pages bound together and protected by a cover. The history of books became an acknowledged academic discipline in the 1980s. Its key purpose is to demonstrate that the book as an object, not just the text contained within it, is a conduit of interaction between readers and words. The history of the book starts with the development of writing, and various other inventions such as paper and printing, and continues through to the modern-day business of book printing. The earliest knowledge society has on the history of books actually predates what would conventionally be called books today and begins with tablets, scrolls, and sheets of papyrus. The history of writing traces the development of expressing language by systems of markings and how these markings were used for various purposes in different societies, thereby transforming social organization. Writing systems were preceded by proto-writing, systems of ideographic and/or early mnemonic symbols. Token system, Jiahu symbols, Vinca symbols, Proto-cuneiform, Indus script, Nsabidi script. Number systems have progressed from the use of fingers and tally marks, perhaps more than 40,000 years ago, to the use of sets of glyphs able to represent any conceivable number efficiently. The Jiahu symbols consist of 16 distinct markings on prehistoric artifacts found in Jiahu, a Neolithic Paleogang culture site found in Henan, China, and excavated in 1989. The Jiahu symbols are dated to around 6000 BC. The Vinca symbols, sometimes known as the Danube script, are a set of untranslated symbols found on Neolithic-era artifacts from the Vinca culture and related Old European cultures of Central Europe and Southeastern Europe. The Proto-cuneiform script was used in Mesopotamia from roughly 3300 BC to 2900 BC. The Indus script, also known as the Harappan script, is a corpus of symbols produced by the Indus Valley Civilization. Nsabidi is a system of symbols or proto-writing developed in what is now the far south of Nigeria. They are classified as pictograms, though there have been suggestions that some are logograms or syllabograms. A scroll is a roll of papyrus parchment or paper containing writing. The history of scrolls dates back to ancient Egypt. In most ancient literate cultures, scrolls were the earliest format for longer documents written in ink or paints. Scrolls were the first form of editable record-keeping texts, used in Eastern Mediterranean ancient Egyptian civilizations. Parchment scrolls were used by several early civilizations before the codex, or bound book with pages, was invented by the Romans and popularized by Christianity. The codex was the historical ancestor of the modern book. Instead of being composed of sheets of paper, it used sheets of vellum, papyrus, or other materials. The term codex is often used for ancient manuscript books, with handwritten contents. Among the experiments of earlier centuries, scrolls were sometimes unrolled horizontally, as a succession of columns. This made it possible to fold the scroll, as an accordion. The next evolutionary step was to cut the folios and sew and glue them at their centers, making it easier to use the papyrus or vellum recto verso as with a modern book. Aztec codices are Mesoamerican manuscripts made by the pre-Columbian Aztec, and their Nahuatl-speaking descendants during the colonial period in Mexico. Maya codices are folding books written by the pre-Columbian Maya civilization in Maya hieroglyphic script on Mesoamerican bark paper. The folding books are the products of professional scribes working under the patronage of deities. The history of printing starts as early as 3500 BCE, when the Proto-Elamite and Sumerian civilizations used cylinder seals to certify documents written in clay. Technique for printing text, images or patterns originating in China in antiquity. The system and technology of printing and typography using movable components to reproduce elements of a document. A device for applying pressure to an inked surface resting on a print medium such as paper or cloth, and thereby transferring ink. A method of printmaking using acid or mordant to cut into a metal surface to create a design in the metal. The system and technology of printing and typography using movable components to reproduce elements of a document. Method of printing using an image drawn with oil, fat or wax onto the surface of a lithographic limestone plate. A method for making multicolor prints. A printing press in which images to be printed are curved around a cylinder. A printing technique in which inked image is transferred from a plate to a rubber blanket and then to the printing surface. A printing process that involves transfer of an original to a pan of gelatin or gelatin pad pulled over a metal frame. A typesetting method where molten type metal is injected into a mold and the resulting slugs are used to press ink onto paper. A printing technique where a mesh is used to transfer ink onto a substrate. Method of printing from a digital-based image directly to a variety of media. Method of printing from a digital-based image directly to a variety of media. Paper is a thin non-woven material traditionally made from a combination of milled plant and textile fibers. The first paper-like plant-based writing sheet was papyrus. Papermaking is the manufacture of paper and cardboard, which are used widely for printing, writing, and packaging, among many other purposes. A manuscript was, traditionally, any document written by hand or, once practical typewriters became available, typewritten as opposed to mechanically printed or reproduced in some indirect or automated way.